The airline passenger experience is on the ground this week at Aviation Festival, joining the PAX X debate. We're incredibly fortunate to be joined here by Sir Tim Clark, President of Emirates and PAX X pioneer. Sir Tim Clark, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, pleasure. Good to be here.
So you've just come off a panel with C-level executives from some of the world's most innovative airlines. Passenger experience was a big theme. Was there one particular topic that you could have really discussed for longer?
I think the whole question of connectivity and Wi-Fi could have been expanded a little bit more, but we didn't have time for that. And obviously the US carriers have a wonderful advantage in that they have HF systems that allow them to have a much greater bandwidth. They can stream into the aircraft. We can't do that as much as we would like, simply because we're controlled by the satellite constellations, and we fly over areas where there's very small amounts of bandwidth and signal. So the notion that we would be able to expand the IFE system or dispense with the IFE system in the interest of trying to get a Wi-Fi streamed is a bit of a holy grail for us, but that's something we could have talked about it a bit more.
Okay, and then beyond IFE and Wi-Fi, is there an emerging technology or maybe a trend in service that you are sort of banking on to shake things up next?
Well, I know it's happening at the moment. We have already some very, very good platforms of which our crew use, where we have journey management of all passengers in the iPads and the mobile devices they carry in cabin. They know everything about everybody on the aeroplane, particularly if they're frequent flyers. We also track their movements across our network, so if they've been disrupted or they've had a bad service or lost their baggage, worst case, or things like that, we know about it. And the crew have seen it on the tablet, and it flags up to them that we've got a problem, that you need to be particularly nice to this passenger, help them, assist them, etc. That's already going really well. Our ability to now do dine on demand using mobile platforms in the Wi-Fi system is already on board. We can take orders from most of our premium passengers. A bit more difficult on the 380 main deck because there's 427 passengers. But in the premium, we're already making advances there. And all that data flows across the network. So as passengers move from one aeroplane to another, that data is passed into the purser's hands of the next aircraft and also onto the ground. So we're tracking them the whole time. And as from that, we extract huge amounts of data. What kind of food do they like? What kind of drink do they like? What's this? What's that? It all gets uploaded. You know, in a very friendly, consumer-friendly manner. We're not trying to intrude on people's privacy. We're just trying to gain the data that helps us do a better job for them when we see them again.
So personalization and understanding the passenger is a big theme. Would you say that passengers are getting a little more intelligent when it comes to comparing airline services, hard product, soft product when they're buying tickets?
I think the digital revolution has facilitated that in an unbelievable manner. In the old days, passengers, you went to your travel agent, didn't you? And you said, I want to go on this. And I like Emirates. They're a good airline, so I think I'd like to travel on that. That's all changed now. The digital applications in front of everybody using their iPhones, and not only that, you've got multiple brands coming at you in the terms, and also you've got what I call the intermediaries in our business. They don't look at themselves as intermediaries, the Skyscanners, the Booking.com, the Expedias, etc. They're all seeking to extract value on the basis of the inventory that we offer, by compiling very good online systems that give us spread of opportunities. So anybody, wherever they are, they could be on a plane, in an airport, in their car, can now look and start mapping and constructing ways and means of getting to places using airlines they like, or the airlines that offer the cheapest prices, airlines that give best baggage, what the seats may look like. Then we have virtual reality presentations on our mobile platforms to show you what the bar upstairs looks like on a 380 or what it's like in economy. And more and more of that is coming. So it's not because we are more discerning as human beings or we never wanted that, we never had it, so we never asked for it. Now we have it. Digital technology is allowing us to do that. So people say, but the 21st century passenger is a lot more discerning and concerned about what he and she does. That's no more than it was many years ago. Now we can do it. So the trick is to understand all of that, personalize it, and do your best to try and identify through a sort of dynamic approach to consumer behavior and the data you extract on an individual basis and give them what they want. Maybe easier said than done, but that's where we're going.
Okay, and then on the topic of challenges, again, focusing on the passenger experience, what's a big challenge that the industry is facing right now?
Oh, there are many. There are many. For instance, there are companies like Emirates and others who are very focused on digital. But actually the physical manifestation of a product is many times, very often outside your control. Take airports. Look what happened at Gatwick. The immigration officers didn't turn up. Border control is struck. So you get off, you know everything about blah, 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 it's wonderful. And suddenly you're facing 4,000 people in front of you in a 2.5 hour wait to get to border force or to get your bag. And what I'm saying is that many of the stakeholders in the supply chain are not aligned on the same basis as we might be. So you hold out to have a fabulous offering and doing all this, and suddenly you're let down because 2.5 hours at Gatwick Airport trying to get through border control. And so and all the things that we want to do in the development world of technology in the aviation world, particularly in airports, depends on the airport stakeholders, i.e. the owners and investors, who have to align. There's no point saying, oh, we're going to have check-in-less systems, we're going to have biometric controls at gates, we're going to have no central search because you can walk through, we've got all these devices that look at you, look at your bag, look at everything, and be able to say whether you're there, and just let you go. So you'd never stop. But if they don't come to the party, you go from sort of 2050 back to 1950.
I've been through the Gatwick border control situation personally, so I know exactly what you're talking about there. Okay, and then sort of finally, when we look at the industry as it stands today, we've got trade bodies like the Airline Passenger Experience Association and expos and conferences and gatherings like Apex Expo in September, for example. What role do these play in the positive development of all these issues in the industry?
Well, I think these are great entities and venues that allow a focus, a cross-fertilization of ideas. And it's important that when you go to these people, you don't feel that you're alone. A lot of people think, well, I'm doing this, I can't seem to get... There are huge numbers of people in our business who are thinking as you do and doing better. And what tends to happen at these caucuses is that people come from the core to the periphery. They're all adding value one way or the other. And very often they will articulate the basic themes of what people are trying to do. And that message can get out into all sorts of circles, whether it be governmental circles, NGOs, other organizations like Airport International, or whether it be consumer groups. It could be privacy watchdogs, all those kind of things. You're keeping an eye on all of this. As you develop, you see what's going on, you know there are going to be challenges and implications where the groups as a group will do a lot better than individual entities trying to lay off the risks and the challenges on their own. It's exchange of ideas and an articulation of what people are trying to do in that particular area. Could be health, could be airlines, could be travel agents, could be bus companies, I don't know. Very good though.
It's important to get together and discuss the issues.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, and then just finally, later this month you'll be receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Airline Passenger Experience Association for your contributions to raising the bar in passenger experience. After so many years doing what you do, how do you stay inspired to keep pushing the bar higher?
It's an interesting. I'm one of these people that's fairly driven, always have been. I've been very much an airline man. I've always wanted to see the business move. In the terms of the passenger products, when we started Emirates, we looked around and we saw a compendium of utter mediocrity, and we knew we could do better than that. And I noticed that the manufacturers were spending far too much time, for the right reasons, in aerodynamics, propulsion, metallurgical solutions, flight deck arrays and computers. But back in the cabin, we were on DC-10s and TriStars. So we knew we could do better than that, and of course that's where we started. So we've constantly focused as part of our business model on getting the highest level of service delivery. It isn't just about food. We've got into seat design. We've actually got manufacturers to produce to our specification, not theirs. We've never been on a take it or leave it. We pioneered in-flight entertainment and seat back in the early 90s. Drove Panasonic and everybody to go well beyond where they were then and as they are now, and continue to drive. Now, what's happened more recently is this digital revolution. So people might, like me, thinking, well, if I'd had those tools then, what would we be? What would the modern aeroplane look like inside? What would it look like outside? What is it going to look like outside? I'm a geek. I'm an anorak, as they call them. Aviation is my business, and so as long as I'm still breathing, I kind of, it's an interest to me. It's a hobby. So as long as to have let the business go into flatline and not change out your product line, particularly as your product lines are now so compressed. In the old days, 2-year, 3-year, 4-year product line. Now they're 6 months, and technology is causing that and helping that. So you've got to keep moving, otherwise you'll be eaten alive.
Well, from one geek to another, thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure.